Welcome to our journey into building tomorrow's workforce. This is Unveiling Future Careers, the CTE Showcase webinar series made possible through funding by the Bay Area Community College Consortium and presented by Workforce Innovation Labs, where education meets industry. Workforce Innovation Labs partners with colleges and regions across California to design, strengthen, and scale strategies that align learning with real-world careers. We're shining a spotlight on CTE excellence, best practices, and innovations ready for replication statewide. Every theme in this 6-part series is crafted to advance the Chancellor's 2030 Vision for Success. Webinar 4 is all about how equitable access and student support create pathways to living wage careers. From paid learning opportunities to comprehensive wraparound supports, California's community colleges are breaking down barriers and helping students persist, complete, and thrive. We'll spotlight today 3 powerful examples: Berkeley City College's Biotechnology program, Kenyatta College's Early Childhood Apprenticeship program, and Evergreen Valley College's Automotive Technology program. These programs integrate paid internships, tuition-free apprenticeships, and embedded support services to ensure students succeed in both college and career. This isn't just a conversation. It's a showcase of scalable solutions driving the future of equity, access, and student success across California's community colleges. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Mari Morris, Project Manager here with Workforce Innovation Labs, and I'll be your facilitator. Joining us on the call are Audrey Libador and Xavier Nazario, Managing Partners at Workforce Innovation Labs, as well as the fabulous Pat Aquino, our Project Management Assistant. You've probably seen an email or two, but she really is the one making the magic happen behind the scenes. Today, we'll hear 3 lightning presentations. After each presentation, we'll pause for a short Q&A session with that presenter. You can submit your questions at any time using the Q&A box. If you're not sure where to find it, look at the toolbar, typically at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You should see a button labeled Q&A. Click that, type your question, and hit submit. We'll answer as many as possible live after each presentation, and any we don't get to will be answered in that Q&A panel. At the end of today's session, we'll ask that you complete a brief post-webinar survey. Your feedback really does help us make this series stronger each time. And as a thank you, the first 60 attendees who complete the survey will receive a DoorDash gift card. So think of the survey as your ticket to lunch. Before we jump into the program, I also want to share that our next webinar, Webinar 5, Bridging Education and Careers, Exemplary K-14-16 Pathways and Transfer Models. It's happening on November 20th, so about 3 weeks away, and from noon to 1. So the registration is open. Feel free to click that link, and it's in the chat, and secure your spot. And maybe tell a friend. We're excited to get started today, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend this hour with us. To start us off, I'm really excited to introduce Dr. Barbara Desrochers, coordinator of the Biotechnology program at Berkeley City College and co-chair of the Science Department. Dr. Desrochers teaches microbiology and immunology and leads one of the region's most recognized applied bioscience pathways with 2 stackable certificates and an AS degree designed for transfer and aligned to CID requirements. Under her leadership, Berkeley City College's biotech program has received multiple awards, including 2 competitive grants from the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine, which fund a 10-month paid internship in research laboratories across the Bay Area. The program blends academic rigor with hands-on lab training, and through targeted student support such as tutoring, free course materials, dedicated counseling, STEM club, MESA activities, and job placement, transfer assistance, really does build access and persistence for a wide range of students, from recent high school graduates to career-shifting professionals. But please join me in welcoming Dr. Barbara Desrochers. Take it away, Barbara.
Okay, here we go. Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Mari. It's a little bit, I'll repeat a wee bit. Our program was launched with an NSF ATE grant about 30 years ago. And high school and college faculty and industry scientists came together to develop an AS degree, a certificate, and 5 dedicated courses. And at the time, it was developed as a 2+2+2 program with the first 2 years in high school. Now, over the years, we've had to make a number of changes to keep up with the progression of the industry, and we have pivoted somewhat from the original structure. So in place of one certificate, as Mari mentioned, we now have two certificates, one for students at the start of their careers, giving them essential tools for entry-level positions, and the other certificate for students who want more advanced coursework. Now, the degree and certificates are stackable with the AS degree. There are pathways in place for various entry points, and we've made a point of ensuring that all the classes are transferable to the CSU UC system. Here you're looking at a picture of students doing tissue culture. They're learning how to work without contamination with the cells. This is a laminar flow hood, and the air here is filtered. This is actually a very tricky technique to accomplish. There, you can see that we've doubled the number of certificates, really to accommodate the need in the research and industry labs. As was mentioned, our goal is to ensure that students develop a very strong foundation, both academically and in the laboratory. We want to give the students the flexibility when they're looking for jobs. And doing this, blending gives them the confidence in themselves that they can do just about anything. And allows them to remain competitive in the workforce. Now, as mentioned, our students come from a very broad background of life experiences. Many of them are the first in their families to go to college. Some of them are retooling. Most of them have some college level experience. About a third have bachelor's degrees. About 20 to 25% are recent high school graduates. And you can see the range of ages. And this is one of the reasons we had to tweak our program from the 2+2 to accommodate the older students. The internships that are available to students, internships are great. They offer students the ability to get into the actual business of doing science. And there's a couple of different types. They're the competitive types that are available to them from the Department of Energy, for example. Oops, excuse me. And then there is this CIRM internship that we offer. Needless to say, having done an internship really looks very good on your resume. The California Institute of Regenerative Medicine was launched in 2004 with the passage of Proposition 71 that supported stem cell research in the state of California. And within a few years, CIRM put together these Bridges training grants. And they just simply renewed it with Proposition 14 recently. We were one of the community colleges that received the grants, and we still have one. Each college can design their program the way they want. And so we have a 10-month paid internship available to our students in Bay Area research labs. Now, the students can work in industry labs, but we find that the research labs are better able to guide them at this stage in their careers. And so that's why we emphasize that. We also have a wealth of research labs. The labs, the students, the types of labs that these students go into are truly at the cutting edge of research in this field. They're tackling the most difficult problems that we know in medical science. And there's labs that are trying to understand the basis of all these problems, and those would be basic research labs. And then there are labs that are trying to take those discoveries from the bench to the clinic, and these are referred to as translational labs. And then there are labs that are working on the tools to push the science forward, and that falls under the bioengineering group. The students can choose what lab they want to go into, and they can also choose the location of where they want to go. But regardless of where they end up, they not only have a front row seat to this wonderful opportunity, to all the latest research, but they're also active participants because when they leave, they will have their names on research papers, which will really be a leg up. Now, where do they end up? Well, most of our interns they'll find positions in the laboratory, either in industry or a research lab as a technician. In fact, about a third of them will start in the labs where they interned. Another third will go on to graduate school or professional school, and the remainder will finish their baccalaureate degrees. And when they're through, they'll come into either the industry or they'll go on. Now, the CIRM interns, when they finish, they have a little chore to do. They have to put together a scientific paper, they have to put together a scientific poster of the research that they conducted, and they go to a conference. And CIRM provides a networking conference where about 700 people from across the state come. and observe what the students have done. And the students have a poster session they are assigned to. They stand by their posters, and people will come by and ask them questions about their research. I mean, you can imagine this is pretty unnerving. And so at the end of it all, there's a great sigh of relief. And this is from 2024, where we were at USC, and the students here they have their posters in these mailers, and they are relieved that the whole thing is over with. Um, we save those posters. Advertising is critical in this business, and we use those posters as what I call targeted advertising. We post them on the hallway, on the walls, along hallways that lead, in this case, to the student lounge and the vending machines and the bookstore. So of course, there's a lot of foot traffic. We ask the students to write a public abstract explaining in lay language what this research is all about, but also giving people an idea of where did they come from, where do they want to go, and what did the internship mean to them. And so I've just grabbed Alex Felix's remarks. I think this internship really was my saving grace in a lot of different ways because it serves as a way to put you in these types of environments where I don't think I would have been able to put myself on my own. And that is an understatement. Excuse me, that's the essence of programs like this. Even if students went through four-year schools, they would not likely have the opportunity to do this sort of work. Funding is really critical, and we have gone after as many grants as we can, both large and small. The grants allow us to maintain update our materials and get in more material and get in supplies. They also allow us to put more support into the classes. And importantly, some of the grants can be used to fund the classes that are low enrolled. You know, fluctuating enrollments are really difficult for many CE programs. And losing a class in the course of a year is very difficult on the students. The other thing we've made use of is all the freebies that are out there. We have BioLink, which is a warehouse for free materials and supplies donated by industry. And I might add that's the brainchild of Dr. Elaine Johnson from City College of San Francisco. But it's also the case that many industries and research labs will want to give you supplies, and that's really lovely. We also have the support of colleagues across the state. There are a lot of biotech and biomanufacturing programs, and we have meetings where we give each other a lot of encouragement. It's very important to know who the employers are. And we have advisory board members that represent industry, academic research labs, and the federal and state labs. I didn't include the state health lab that's in our area. But it's important to know who the employers are, and it's important to know the turnover. So you get a sense of where your students might find their jobs. We're very lucky in the East Bay, in the Bay Area in general, because there are a lot of small companies, small biotech companies, and not to mention a wealth of research labs and the federal and state labs. It's really critical that students get support systems. We have what we call wraparound support. We try to make everything no cost or low cost, providing free lab manuals. And we give them a lot of guidance. Not only do the faculty guide them, but our professional counselors guide them. It's important that students have their own support. So we have a STEM club and we have MESA club that have drips and activities. And it's also important that students have faculty that understand where their challenges are. And so we went together with UC Berkeley and Cal State East Bay on an equity grant that looked at where are the challenges for students, be they social or academic, and what can we do to help overcome them and reduce those equity gaps. And it's really been very important training. Um, and my final slide is it takes a team. You don't do it alone. We've had wonderful support from our administration. We've had great staffing. Our current laboratory coordinator is a former CIRM intern, and the coordinator and the laboratory assistants, they provide another layer of support to the students. Our advisory board members don't just advise us as to where the jobs are, but they actually, in some cases, help give our students their first jobs. We have former students stop in all the time to tell us where the jobs are, and also sometimes they bring us freebies. And we have a large number of adjunct faculty who have been incredibly supportive over the years. And I wanted to single out three people that have meant a lot to the biotechnology program. Dr. Randy Yang is a co-chair of science with me, and he guides a lot of the students, and he teaches the transfer level classes. Dr. Erica Ye works with me on the CIRM grant, and she teaches almost most of the new uh, the specialty classes in our program. And Natalia Fedorova is our project manager who handles our grants. And at one point was our lab coordinator. And so all three have been a wonderful support for us. And in closing, I want to thank you, Mari and Pat, for inviting me to come. And I also want to thank your tech team for taking my rather boring slides and turning them into something that's pretty astounding. I think I should take a lesson from my own lectures. And that's all I've got to say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Barbara. How inspiring. We've got some great questions in the chat, but it's been a pleasure getting to know you, Barbara, through this process. I just have to say that you're just a delight and so inspiring for all the work and your team too of what you've been able to develop and accomplish. I mean, seeing some of your students go through that internship and what they're able to accomplish is really like master's level, doing those posters. And what a wonderful way to build equity in your program and self-advertise with those posters, because that shows people, the diversity of the program, that, hey, maybe I can belong there too, because I relate to, Felix's story or whoever else's story is up on the wall. And I think that's so smart and brilliant and a reminder to us educators that we can internally promote our programs too, not just through the industry sectors, but that was a great example. So thank you for sharing all that. We've got some questions. So we've got one from Jeffrey Tsao from Chabot College, and he wants to know, how can faculty help establish or join an industry advisory board for a community college? Do you have any advice for him?
Oh, well, say that you want to be part of an advisory board or an
Sounds,
industry advisory board.
yeah,
I-
to
I-
help
was it-
establish one, it sounds like, yeah.
Oh, help establish one. I would start with contacting an industry. I'm not quite sure I know what you are asking here. Um, can you say the question again? Do you want to
Yeah.
establish an advisory
Yeah,
board for the industry?
how can a faculty member help establish or join an industry advisory board for a community college? So I'm guessing
Oh,
the
I
question.
I would call them. I would not hesitate to call them and introduce myself and say, "Do you have an advisory board? I'd like to participate in it." Because I am teaching in a community college and I would say it politely, but I would have something to offer. I have some
Yeah,
suggestions.
awesome. Great, thank you. And then we've got another question from Mackenzie Galindo, and sorry if she missed this part, but is this a 2-year program? Are jobs is available without bachelor's or higher? And what does the pay look like? If you could reiterate that.
Well, first of all, it is a 2-year program, but students come and go, so they come. If it might take them 2 years. Some students come in with a background, so it takes them maybe a year and a half. They all get jobs. It does not seem to make any difference whether they have a bachelor's degree or not initially. If they do a CIRM internship, they are almost launched into a job. But in general, they're people interested in biotechnology, particularly the high school students that are interested. We have found one of the reasons they didn't come into the 2+2+2 is that they had it figured out they needed a bachelor's degree. And so they went to the 4-year schools first. But yes, you can get a job without a bachelor's degree. Absolutely. And the pay is pretty good. I think I put that pay range up there. It's like 55,000 to 85,000. That probably depends upon, I mean, if somebody has an AS degree, it wouldn't be as high as somebody with a bachelor's degree. Probably that would be my answer.
Okay.
We've had very good luck with our students. They really do get jobs. It's just wonderful. So,
Amazing. And kind of going back to Jeffrey's question, he said, yes, how to build industry partners. So other than like reaching out, phone calls, are there other ways that you've been able to build that network of industry
oh,
partners?
well, yeah, this is a very, very good question. And what I can say is it takes a long time. And one of the reasons I put a slide on you have to know who the employers are is because in this business, they change all the time. These businesses, they come and they go and they merge. So you have to know who they are. Honestly, we do reach out to them. We tell them that we have, for example, in the research labs, we contact them directly. There's usually somebody who can put our information out on a list serve initially, but we're kind of well known now. And so we contact people directly and say, we have interns, can you use them? And that helps. But I do have to tell him, the fellow who asked the question, that you're looking at a program that's been in place for many years, and it has taken a long time to develop those relationships with the local industry and also with our research labs. But I could give you a better answer a little bit later, maybe written.
That's great, Barbara. I appreciate that. And I'm sure, if people wanted to reach out to you, outside of this webinar, that would be okay.
Absolutely, that's okay.
Yeah, no, these are great questions. And if more questions come through, you're welcome to add them to the Q&A and Barbara can answer them in the chat as well. But I think it's time for us to go to our next presenter. But thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank
And
you. Thank you all very much.
and so I'm really delighted to introduce Christina Brower, who truly embodies today's theme, from barriers to breakthroughs, equitable access, and student support. Christina has spent more than 25 years with the San Mateo County Community College District and now serves as faculty and coordinator of the Education and Human Development Program at Kenyatta College. She's been a key partner in advocating the San Mateo County Community Colleges early childhood apprenticeship program, supporting efforts across the region to connect education, workforce development, and equity. Christina also teaches dual enrollment courses that give high school students early access to college and careers in education. I definitely know how important that is. And she's really grounded in the belief that education transforms both individuals and communities. Christina continues to build programs that open doors and empower students to succeed. Thank you so much, Christina. Take it away.
All right, here we go. All right. Hello, everybody. So yes, I'm Christina Brower. I'm early childhood assistant professor at Kenyatta College, and I have been with the district for a long time, and we are part of 3 colleges in our district. And as part of our 3 colleges, we have worked together to build an early childhood apprenticeship program. And so I've got the pleasure to work with both Skyline College and CSM, which are our community college partners, to develop this program. We've been working on it probably for like the last 5 years now, so we're pretty well versed. And why did we decide that we wanted an apprenticeship in early childhood? Well, one, there was a needs assessment done in San Mateo County by our Office of Education, and it was estimated that we needed 1,500 new early childhood workers in order to make sure there's childcare, and we know how important that is for our economy. And so around that same time that this needs assessment was done, some of my colleagues and I had went to a presentation on early childhood apprenticeships by Randy Wolf, who is the executive director of ESEPS, and that is an intermediary, an apprenticeship intermediary specifically for early childhood education. And so we were like, let's do this. And so we knew that we wanted to address the need for qualified early childhood educators. We knew that we also had found around at this time that by our the data at our colleges was telling us that our students were taking like 8 to 10 years to complete their degrees, and we wanted to help them speed that process up, because we know that as students continue to get their education, especially in their early childhood units, that they also get pay wages and where they're working. And so we wanted to make sure that our early childhood educators were able to make a livable wage. And so we looked at a couple of different entry points. And so one of the entry points is being a full-time student. So being a full-time student meant that our apprentices would be taking 12 units each semester. And we wanted to combine both early childhood courses and general ed courses, because originally we had found that a lot of our students were taking all their ECE courses and then their GE courses. And we tried to help our students realize that taking both at the same time was going to be beneficial, because those English courses are going to help you be a better student in your ECE courses. We also had our students doing their on-the-job training hours, that our full-time students would be doing their on-the-job training hours at our college's 2 child development centers. So again, 3 colleges, and we have 2 centers, pretty soon 3 in our district. The last thing was that we wanted them to attend a community of practice. So each semester we have 3 community of practice sessions in the evening, and this is an opportunity to come together and meet. We have food, we do reflections, we find out if there's any topics of interest. We did one on time management, because we found that our apprentices were finding it difficult to manage their time. And those have been really, really important. So we developed a 3-year program for our full-time students. And within the first year, when they finished, they would be able to apply with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing for what's called an associate teacher permit. So you need both experience and early childhood units to apply for that. So they'd have that after the first year. And then after the second year, they'd be able to apply for a certificate at our colleges and that next level permit, which is a teacher permit. Again, just more education, more experience. And by the end of 3 years, they would have an associate degree to transfer in early childhood education and a master teacher permit. And that master teacher permit would allow them to run their own classrooms and supervise the other two, the associate teachers and the teachers. Oh, sorry. So next we have our part-time students. We knew that so many of our students were already working in programs full-time or part-time, and that just really, they couldn't do full-time. And so we wanted to make an entry point for them as well. And so what we did was we said, okay, if our part-time students, they can come and they would need to be able to take 6 units. That would be either early childhood or GE again. Again, they need to work 20 hours, but they could also be working full-time. And they'd have to be working in one of our community partner programs. So currently we have 3 partner programs in San Mateo County that we're working with, and they identify their employees that need to continue to get their education. And so we work with them. And then our part-time students would be attending the community of practice sessions we have in the evening along with our full-time students. And so I know many programs do like cohorted type classes. And so we found that just hard because everybody's coming in at different places, but those community of practices really are our opportunity to get everybody together and share and build community. So early on in our apprenticeship, we worked with counselors and we developed a course schedule, and we developed a plan of action in which, again, these specific courses were necessary in order to help our apprentices reach these different benchmarks and then to complete everything in 3 years. Our part-time students, they would take these same courses. The only difference is they would be doing it part-time. And all of these courses are in the evening, so we made sure that they were able to work during the day. And we also we had to code our early childhood classes a little differently than our regular classes. And then for our general ed classes, we worked with our deans to make sure that we can get some specific slots available specifically for our apprentices. So one of the things that we used the CDCs, our child development centers, and not a lot of programs do that. And we felt that it was really necessary for our full-time students who had never worked in programs before, they were just getting started, to be in our child development centers because we have such close relationships. And we really know that what we are teaching in our classrooms, our theories, are being practiced in those programs. And just having that that communication and being able to really oversee our students in a different way was really helpful. Some of the additional benefits to our being in our apprenticeship program is our students get free tuition. Our college currently has free tuition anyway, but we're still able to get those RSI dollars for our apprentices. They get academic supports, we have tutoring. We really do try to use what our colleges already have in place, but we just do a little bit more help in guiding students in that direction. They have career advising. They get paid employment with their on-the-job training hours. They get individualized resources and referrals. So we really do talk to our students. We had students, for example, who are having issues with transportation. And so we made sure that they got Clipper cards and help with that. We have sometimes students come to us too and like don't know how to approach a teacher. And so we're able to help, like, let's think about how we would talk to your teacher. And then last, financial resources. In early childhood education, there are so many stipend programs and grants that are available that students sometimes don't know about, so we help them to identify and apply for those. Requirements for our students to be apprentices is 1, they need to complete all their paperwork. They need to be enrolled at least 6 units per semester. We do have a designated counselor that's, it's a counselor, but they have designated hours for our apprenticeship program. So we ask that our students, our apprentices, meet with the counselor once a semester, just to make sure they're on track. They attend the community of practices. They need to be working in their programs, either at our child development centers or with our community partners. We also want them meeting regularly with their supervising teacher. And then at the end of the 3 years, they need to have completed 2,000 on-the-job training hours. And then we have competencies that our students need to make sure that they meet. And so that's something that both our apprentices and the supervising teacher do together. I know I keep interchanging between student and apprentices, but they're the same for us. And so in terms of thinking about programs that might be interested in replicating something like this, some things that have really worked for us is having those community of practice meetings. And again, because we have flexible entry points, that is our way that we get to come together. And not only do our apprentices have community of practices, but so do the supervising teachers from our child development centers and our community partner programs. So these are the people who are overseeing our apprentices, and we meet with them 3 times a semester as well. And it's a great way to hear about how our students doing. How do we support those that are supporting our apprentices? We have biweekly case management between those of us who are on the apprenticeship that are on the counts on the program, part of the program. So we meet we meet bi-weekly, and we talk about students and how they're doing, what their needs are, how we can support them. And then having that dedicated counselor is always very helpful. And then again, like as I mentioned, using the child development centers as starting points was something that I'm really glad that we were able to do. The question everybody asks is funding, of course. And so the very first year we started, we did get a philanthropic grant. And so that came from the Heising Simons, Silicon Valley Foundation, excuse me. And so we got a grant from them, and that helped us in applying for the CI grant and really kind of starting this process. The CI grant is about to sunset, I think, this year. And so moving forward, we are really hoping that the RSI funding that we've been generating from having apprentices will help us sustain this program, as well as college support, because I think that the college is recognizing how important this program is, not only for our students, but also for our community, because our community needs qualified early childhood employees. And that is it. So I have questions and answers here. If anybody has any, I'd be totally happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Christina. Appreciate that. And as a parent of a young child, I am always so appreciative of people working to help meet those needs of our youngest learners by getting qualified and diverse teachers and early
Absolutely.
childhood educators out there. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And gosh, I think it's so smart, like thinking about moving away from necessarily a cohort model and really meeting students where they're at, but still having that opportunity of regular cadence, community building, the community of practice, not only for the students, but also like the instructors. That's really cool. And that's a big takeaway for me, I think, listening to your presentation. We definitely have a question here from Robin. Are you able to quantify the impact of the apprenticeships? What percentage of students are now completing within 3 years more quickly than the original 8 to 10 years? That was actually a question I had too. Great question, Robin.
That's a really good question. And because we didn't start the apprenticeship 4 or 5 years ago, we actually started building it, but it's really only been like 3 years that we've been doing it. And we have had 3 graduates already. But we do see that students are feeling a little bit more supported and continuing on. So we're always going to have our students that are still going to be doing that, but we don't have that data just yet. So unfortunately.
Yeah, early days. Maybe we'll have to do a follow-up in a couple years.
Absolutely.
We'll see. Awesome. But let's see here. Could you talk a little bit more about how fostered college support to sustain the apprenticeship? Any like key talking points there?
The support that we have, well, in working with ESEPs, which is again this intermediary, they talk a lot about having a success coordinator, like reaching out to, so each of our programs that we work with has what's called a success coordinator. And this is somebody who is the main person that's like checking in regularly with the apprentices in terms of like where they're working at. But then we also have someone on our college side that reaches out. We have a program services coordinator who reaches out to the students and to see what they need. Again, those community of practices, we always are saying like, what are some troubles that you're having? What are some resources that you need? And then the support that we have for the supervising teachers as well, so that they're able to better support their apprentices. So it's like everybody's getting supported.
That's awesome. Yeah. And to recognize that and know that those are the needs that it takes to help students be successful. And also, I noticed you mentioned with, counseling, even coordinating to the level of like making sure that your apprentices had priority slots for certain classes to kind of meet, right, the timing that they needed. So that's awesome. Can you speak any more to like that coordination that it takes between the supports, the counselors, the case management that you do? Because I think that's also kind of an interesting and new perspective.
Sure. Well, again, we meet bi-weekly and we really just kind of go down the list and we talk with each student, like, how are they doing? And we invite our the counselors to our meetings as well. And then at our community practices, sometimes our counselors will show up and talk to the students there. We really do try to make it a time that we all get together. But again, that case management piece is really where we talk about each student, like, how are they doing? We already know we've talked to their employer and how they're doing. We have some of us that are on are their teachers as well. We're faculty in some of their classes, so we can also speak to how they're doing in the classes. So really, we get a whole picture of each of our apprentices and what their needs are. So it's been pretty great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all those great insights. And I think that's very helpful. Oh, we've got one more clarifying question. How did you or did you plan to convince college leadership to sustain apprenticeship beyond the Chi grant?
Honestly, we have a champion. We have a dean that is like our champion. Really, he has been, and you need that, right? You need to have somebody that just says like, this is a great idea. I fully support you. And he's been amazing. So this Michael Kane at Skyline College. And he has told us from the beginning, he didn't want us to do anything above and beyond what the college can do. Really, he said, what supports can you use? For example, like stipends. I know a lot of programs give stipends to apprentices or to their mentoring teachers and things like that. And he's like, we can't sustain that. So we don't want to start that. We want to think about how we can support them without doing that. Like, he's really helping us think about that from the beginning. And so I think that's where it's been really useful, like thinking ahead of time, like, what will we not be able to sustain? And let's not even start there. Let's start with only what we can do and we know we can continue to do. Hopefully. I mean, I know there's a lot of budget issues going on at the state, but I think it's something that our college is behind. They're very supportive of our child development centers and the need for childcare in our communities.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Christina. And also, yeah, the importance of having somebody really advocating for your program and to have that vision, right? To anticipate, let's set the correct precedent of what would be sustainable as well. Like, we can have, not that we shouldn't have big dreams, we can still like offer so many amazing supports to our students, but what is realistic and what is in the long run going to help us. So that's really smart. Well, thank you, Christina. I appreciate it. Appreciate your presentation. Thanks for joining us. If you have any additional questions for our presenters, again, you can always submit in the Q&A and they can answer in the Q&A chat. But next, and our third in the lineup, I'm pleased to introduce Mark Birnbeck from Evergreen Valley College's Automotive Pathway, a program nationally recognized for centering student success through major investment in facilities and lab space, holistic student supports, and close employer relationships to ensure both learning and employment outcomes. The program also fosters a deep partnership with regional occupational centers and K-12 schools, thereby widening equitable access to career pathways long before students even arrive on their campus. So please join me in welcoming Mark Birnbeck. Hi, Mark. Welcome.
Thank you, Mari. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And the automotive industry is changing faster than ever. It's no longer wrenches and oil changes. It's high voltage systems, computer communications and networks, and advanced driver systems, or ADAS. The demand for high-skilled, high-tech technicians is huge, and the need for quality, affordable training is critical. My name is Mark Birnbeck. I'm one of the faculty, and I'm excited to talk to you about the Evergreen Valley College Automotive Technology Program, a state-of-the-art program right here in the South Bay and San Jose area that is setting students up for incredible success in the new era of transportation. Notice I said transportation, by the way, and not just automotive, because if you follow the technology, electrification of transportation is all over the map. And so that just gives them more opportunities. So we're not just training mechanics, we're forging technical specialists of the future. And I'm not sure, I'm sorry to be technologically, yeah, so advancing the slide.
Speaking of tech, feel free to share your slides. I don't think we can see them just yet.
So sorry.
It's all good.
Okay, give me a second here. Bear with me.
All good. We all have permission to be imperfect today, Mark. No worries.
Right. Okay. What is this, live television, right? Okay. So, okay. So, here we go. Who do we serve? Our program is proud to be a vital resource for the entire San Jose and South Bay community. We welcome a diverse range of students from high schoolers getting an early start to adult learners looking for a career change. We're especially committed to serving underrepresented communities and opening doors to sustainable wage careers. Our curriculum is designed to give you a solid foundation while specializing in future technology. We start with mechanical systems and electrical fundamentals and then build on that to advanced technologies and high voltage systems. The EBC program is fully accredited by the state of California and the prestigious ASE Alliance, meaning your training meets the highest national standards. A similar 18-month program at a private institution can easily cost someone $40,000 or more, which is a huge debt load before they even get their first paycheck. At Evergreen Valley College, the entire 18-month program costs only about $3,000 to $4,000 for tuition and books, and students are getting the same or often better state-of-the-art training for a fraction of the price. And to eliminate another major barrier, the program provides all the tools and equipment, meaning all the vehicles a student needs, so they're only responsible for their tuition and books. And much of that can even be paid for with federal grants. So we don't just enroll students and send them on their way. Student success is our mission. So we provide stackable certificates. So they build on their skills while on their way to degree. So you can see a student can come here for the first semester and earn the foundational skills certificate. And if they're satisfied with that, they can earn a good wage starting out. But then they can also continue with more certificates. Each one builds on that first and gets to a higher level of training. You can also see we have the American Honda certificate in here, as well as the Tesla Start certificate. So that is that gets those students ready for working on those lines. And then if a student wants to actually get a 2-year degree while they're here, all they have to do is add their general ed, usually about 24 units, and they can now have earned their first 2-year degree. And that's important because even though you might think, why would a technician or someone need something like that in the field? Well, we tell them to think about their future because there's so many opportunities available with this knowledge, with this training. They say 6 out of 9 jobs in the country is related to either automotive or transportation. So, and we have dedicated support to ensure student success right here in our department, in our building. So we have an on-site counselor, Dorian Tran. She guides students through their academic plan, keeps them on track, and also helps with certificate completion at the end, which is important, right? If you don't have that, if you don't have students getting the certificate, how do you know that your program is actually earning those? Then we also have an in-house industry connection mentor, kind of like a career coach. His name is Fred Mitchum, and he helps students create a resume, coaches them with interview skills, and just has so much experience in this because not all of our students know how to apply for a job or how to best represent themselves to an employer. Other campus resources we have is every student can apply for financial aid. There's food assistance, access to our on-campus health clinic, and other counseling services, and many more, actually. We pride ourselves in those support services. All of our faculty, you can see in this lower picture, have experience in the field, anywhere from 10 to 30 years of experience. So we can actually talk the talk when we train students. We have a lot of stories, and part of that is mentorship as well. We're very supportive of students getting into this field. So our success is built on a strong partnership with industry, not only Honda and Tesla. We have other members who support us. I heard the question earlier about advisories and things like that. So we have to do advisories for our accreditation. But what we're finding is that industry is very interested in us and glad to participate in either social events that we do. Sometimes we do barbecues, recruitment events. We just did one the other day. We do high school events too. We did one last Friday. And really that's one of our big focuses is to try to have industry meet our students, because after all, they're looking for jobs. And so that helps with job placement. And also this direct connection with industry, meaning, they're in our advisories, has a direct impact on what we even teach. If they say we need more people able to diagnose electrical systems, then we make sure that our program does that. If they say we need more smog technicians to be able to smog vehicles, then we make sure that there's a pathway for that. And so we're always developing, new programs and things. Much of the advanced equipment that they'll train on was funded actually from state career technical education grants, like strong workforce grants, which is a testament to California's commitment to our program and its future. So again, we have a lot of interest, from the state level, from industry, coming into our program. And I can just say the success is really heartwarming. We just had a graduation, by the way, today for the Tesla students. Their success is about 100% success rate. So if they go into that cohort, it's a small cohort, usually 11 or 12, they have all graduated and all have jobs, work across the country. And it's very heartwarming to see their families come and see their success and then see them years later. As a matter of fact, one of my students who started the program 5 years ago is now a teacher for Tesla, and she was in the graduation ceremony today. So we were all teachers. The 4 teachers that were the teacher at the program, we were all students of this program, and now we've decided to become teachers. So it's a wonderful environment. So there's constantly innovation going on. We're keeping an eye on the technology. We have to do a lot of training as well. We've all had this experience from before, but in order to teach about this new technology, we have to also learn about it. And our goal is and we're successful with making these students some of the most trained and be assets to industry, because industry is actually having a difficult time finding people interested in the new technology, right? There's a learning curve there, but our students are fresh and they want to learn this technology, so it makes them very marketable, if you want to say. And we learn from other colleges as well. There's many automotive programs in the area, so we get together in some of these joint ventures and trade ideas of what works and not. So in summary, if someone is looking for a high wage, in demand career in the automotive industry, the Evergreen Valley College automotive program offers that. And I hope you enjoyed this. And I will take any questions.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you so much. It's so inspiring, and I love all the full circle moments that you mentioned. And on that note, someone is asking, can you clarify? So your former student um, that was at the Tesla graduation is a teacher for Tesla now?
Yes. So like many of our students, like me when I started my career, knew nothing when she came in, and she went through the program, got interested in the Tesla program. It's called Tesla Start. It's a capstone program. So she got all the right grades. She went and got the experience and then applied, was accepted to the program, worked for Tesla, rose up the ranks, and actually was working with engineers. So the nice thing about Tesla, which not many know, is that people can move around. There's a lot of pathways within Tesla. And that's what I kind of like, is that you're not just stuck being a technician. If engineering needs you, or design, or sees other gifts that you have, there's a lot of mobility within the company. So I've really Tesla's grown on me, so to say. Um, apart from any other messages, right, that might be out there. Um, and uh, and yes, and she, after working with the engineers, then she, they saw her gifts, and now she teaches the techs, the high, more advanced stuff than we teach here, which is a real success story.
That's awesome. And to have that connection with one of your own alum, that's really neat to have that pathway there and that
Hmm.
connection. We've got another great question from Robin. Is the industry connection mentor a paid position? If so, is it full-time or is it a volunteer through industry? How does that work?
So it's a paid position. What we're finding is that many of our students would get the skills, but not know how to approach an employer, and tell their story, so to say, because they have the skills, but how do you bring that up in an interview? Okay, and also with the resume, how does your resume show your skills? So he's been doing this for many years, I think 40 years. And he's worked for Google, he's worked for presidential campaigns. So he has a lot of experience of what employers are looking for. And I don't know if I mentioned, yes, it is a paid position. Just like we have to also pay for the counselor. This is a regular counselor, but we're paying additional hours, part-time hours, to be just in our program. And with both of these combined, employers are very impressed by our students. Um, and they are, it's really important, because if employers don't get the right impression, then that student may not get the job. So having that expert on hand is crucial.
Definitely. And I think that's a theme we've kind of seen throughout, just having those extra supports to connect those dots. Because while you're educating the student, preparing them for their career, they also need some of those soft skills or those things that, students need to learn when they're early in their career of how to present themselves. Especially in the world we live in now, where you have to have a brand almost. So
Mhm.
definitely. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate all that you've shared and all the amazing things that your program is doing. We've got about 5 minutes left, so I guess we better wrap up. But thank you so much, Mark. As we
Can I
wrap up,
mention one more? Can I
oh
mention one
yeah,
more
go
thing,
ahead.
Lori? Sorry.
Of course, no,
So
go ahead.
and I'm glad I went last because, well, no, there's one more, right? Or no?
Let's see here. Oh, we've got a couple more questions that just came through. So
Well,
really quick, yeah.
I wanted to plug my dean, because it's very important to have a supportive dean. The If we had not had the support of the dean and strong workforce grants and knowing how to get that money, I can say that we would not look the way we do. I showed you some of those pictures before, by the way. Okay. We have some of the latest and greatest technology. And when industry partners from dealerships come here, we have the latest alignment equipment, lifts, training things. It looks like a dealership. And that's what's important, is, how close is our environment to the environment they're going to be working in? And it makes it an easy transition, right? Because now they're using equipment they were trained on. And so they can impress the employers on day one. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Okay, we actually got two questions really quick, so I'll give you like a minute to answer. But What funds are you using to pay the counselor? And then how many women do you have in your programs?
Good questions. The funds for the other counselor, I'm not sure if it comes from Strong Workforce. That would probably be a better question of my dean. And if you look at our website, you can find our dean. You can look up auto program. There's a lot of great videos in there too. It's Dean Fuentes, Dean Angel Fuentes. Women in our program, it's growing actually. I'd say that right now we have around 10 women, which is much more than before. And I was just speaking with a young lady who's now the teacher for Tesla, kind of reflecting on the industry and how it's changing from how it used to be. It's a much more supportive environment than it was, and also, without being so mechanical, and you think it's like a dirty job and everything, it's more technical. It interests other people. Like that's what drew me into this was the technical aspect of automotive.
Awesome. I love that it's evolving and becoming more open to the diversity that's out there and the great ideas that all the students you have. Thank you so much, Mark. And, I just want to say thank you to all our presenters, Dr. DeRoche, Christina Brower, and Mark Bernbeck. Thanks for sharing all the innovative work that you're doing to support students and really creating equitable access. And to our attendees, thanks for joining us. And before you leave, please take a moment to complete our post-webinar survey. It's in the chat now. Thanks, Pat. And in our commitment to continuous improvement, that feedback really helps improve this webinar series. So if you complete it, you will be eligible to receive a $20 DoorDash gift card to cover your lunch. So please, but if you want to opt out of that DoorDash gift card, you can indicate on the survey that you want to opt out, and that's fine too. But we do appreciate your feedback. And then while you're filling that out, just a little bit about who we are at Workforce Innovation Labs. So we are a project management firm dedicated to helping great initiatives achieve vision. We partner with a lot of community colleges across California to build bandwidth and to help launch new programs, scale innovation, connect the dots between education industry and the community. And so this webinar series was part of the Unveiling Future Career CT Showcase and funded through a regional joint venture awarded by the Bay Area Community College Consortium. Shout out to BACCC. The goal is to raise awareness among leadership, stakeholders about the importance, impact, and need to invest in career technical education programs and really those supports that we heard about today. So we're really excited to continue this journey with you, as we have curated these themed webinars. It aligns with Chancellor's Vision 2030 and to really showcase scalable solutions that can be replicated across the state. Our next one coming up is, as I mentioned before, November 20th, Bridging Education Careers, Exemplary K-14-16 Pathways and Transfer Models. So please join us. We already have the registration link available. Please register, tell your friends. We'd love to see you on the 20th. So stay connected with us on LinkedIn, visit our website to learn more about the projects we're really proud to support. And to everyone on the call, thank you for joining us today. And thank you for all you do to advance student success. Have a great day.